Hey Pastor, I hope that you're doing well. As you're probably fully aware, we are right on the edge of camp season, and you probably are anticipating sending your students to camp, believing that God is going to do something profound in their life. And that's the reason for this video. I have a request. Your kids are going to go to camp, great things are going to happen, and then they're going to come back and be with you on that Sunday morning following their week of camp. And I want to ask you to prayerfully consider a couple of things. First, and a lot of you already do this, prayerfully consider allowing your students to stand up in front of your congregation and testify of the great exploits of the Lord in their life at camp. But there's another thing that I'm asking. See, this year our focus, our theme is the movement, and that theme is really built off of a prayer. That what happens at camp, people being saved, people being filled with the Holy Spirit, students being set free from pain and addiction, healing in their physical body. Our prayer is that not only would those things happen at camp, but that camp would be a catalyst for those stories and those testimonies to begin happening in your congregation and in your community. That kids will come home and lay their hands on the sick and they'll recover. That they'll come home and pray for people and they'll be filled with the Holy Spirit. That they'll come home and their friends will be saved. So here's the extra layer of request. Would you prayerfully consider not only allowing your students to testify, but on that Sunday morning, set aside time after they've testified for your students to lay their hands on the adults of your congregation, believing that the sick in your congregation will be healed as your students minister, that adults that need to be baptized in the Holy Spirit will be filled with the Holy Spirit as a result of your students. I personally was a youth pastor at a church where we came back from a conference and our pastor allowed us to do this. And we saw it so dramatically affect our church that for a period of 6 months to a year, our church was not the same. The presence of God was so close and so tangible and so near. So we want to partner with you, and I can't think of a better way than to launch these students back into your church and allow them to minister and release what God's done in their life. My prayer for you is not just that your kids will be touched, but that camp will be a blessing for your whole church. And I think this potentially could be a way for that to happen. So I'm praying that not only will your kids be touched, Pastor, but I'm praying that your whole church will be rejuvenated and refreshed because of your willingness to send your kids to camp. Thank you for doing that. We don't take it lightly, and we're so honored to be a part of what God's doing in your community.